So welcome to the studio, Mag O Keeffe, VP of Global Additive Technologies at Stryker. Thanks a million for being with us this morning.
Thanks very much for inviting me.
So tell us, for those who don't know Stryker as well as others, can you tell us a little bit about Stryker, the organisation globally, and then maybe its operations here in Ireland?
Yeah, sure. So Stryker was founded 60 years ago. Dr. Homer Stryker was an orthopaedic surgeon, and he was very much of the motto, if your tools don't work, make them work. And so that's how he began creating and inventing products for healthcare. And so Stryker is a medical device, healthcare technology company, a global company. And 26 years ago, Stryker decided to open their operations in Ireland. And today in Ireland, we have 9 Stryker facilities, 9 locations, all the way from Cork, Limerick up to Belfast. And 6 manufacturing sites and 3 innovation hubs. 5,500 employees, so quite a large presence in Ireland. And interestingly, 50% of our growth in Ireland has been in the last 5 years.
Wow. Wow, that's incredible progress. I didn't know it was as long as 26 years.
Yeah.
So you guys are here quite a while. Well, I'm definitely going to come back to Stryker because I'm dying to hear about the innovation and the technologies. But I just want to kick off by getting a little bit of a sense of yourself, Mag, and your own career journey and how you got to where you are today, and maybe a little bit about your role now.
Okay, thank you. So I'm actually an engineer by background, mechanical engineer. I started in Stryker 25 years ago, and I came in as a graduate engineer, and quite naively I thought once you were an engineer, you were an engineer for life, you know. And I came in and I was working in engineering, and I actually became into technical engineering leadership. And then as I worked in different areas of the business, business leadership kind of came in to my capabilities. So originally, I was a design engineer working on the products. So Stryker makes products for the whole continuum of care in healthcare. So, you know, all the way from products you see in the ambulance, in the hospital, logistically in the hospital, operating suites, theatres, and the products that go into the body, you know, implants and different products that we use for patient healthcare. And so I was working in that area as an engineer, and I got the opportunity to write the procedures to create an innovation capability in Ireland. And that grew then into a technical leadership. I was able to run different parts of engineering. And because we're a medical device, it's highly regulated. And I got the opportunity to work in the front room with the audits for the FDA and so forth. And then a couple of years on, I am actually running quality for Europe. And so I grew into the role. And each role gave me a level of capability, either technically and then areas of the business that I kind of grew into. But 2016, I probably made a major career move. I got the opportunity. We were building a brand new greenfield plant with and brand new technology and new products that we hadn't had before. And so I got the opportunity to be the plant leader in that site. And it was phenomenal. And you know, it was so successful. In a couple of years, we ended up having to double the footprint of the facility, and it just gave me so much perspective business. When you're running a plant, you need to kind of understand all areas of business. So it was just a great opportunity. And then I got the opportunity to actually run operations for one of our divisions, and it was right before COVID, and so it's the neurovascular division, so they make the products for stroke and aneurysms, so they're life-saving products. The product needs to be on the shelf at all times, and so COVID hit, and I was running operations, sites in the US and Ireland. I couldn't travel. There was a reduced workforce, and all these products need to be on the shelf, and so it was just, if I was to describe 2 capabilities that I got during that period. It was grit and resilience. And it was tough, but it just really gave me a perspective of what can be done, you know. So with that and having that experience couple of things going on in my personal life. I said, you know what, seize the day. Let's do something a little bit braver. And I decided to go for the role I'm in today. And with the bravery and the grit and the resilience that I had got from the other roles, I took this role, which is the Vice President of Global Additive Technologies, which really is, if you think about the great people in Stryker that design our products, that know what the customer need, and then the wonderful people on the ground every day supplying the product to the customer, there's a group in the middle that figure out how to take these brilliant designs and make them and put technologies in place that you can actually physically make them. And that's the group I work for. And so we design new technologies to make products for healthcare.
What an amazing journey. I love, oh my goodness, the COVID part in the middle. Even I was feeling kind of stressed when you were telling me about that. That is no joke. And it kind of leads very well into the next question in a way, Mag, because I want to ask you what you've learned over the years and maybe your own thoughts on what leadership looks like. I think resilience is clearly going to be one of the answers, but tell me your own thoughts on what a good leader looks like in your view.
I think a good leader, you know, when you talk about leadership, you talk about some of the pieces that everybody speaks to, like vision, having really good vision and translating that vision into a strategy and having good communication skills so you can, translate that vision. And so when you're in the technology space, sometimes the vision isn't clear to people, like they don't think that far ahead. So you need to inspire people to follow your vision. So you need to do that with integrity and, build trust. But as well in that technology space, I think what you need is a really innovative mindset. Thinking outside the box, asking how and why. If a surgeon comes to you and says, hey, can you make this instrument a little bit lighter? My hand's getting tired in surgery. You say, well, why does he want the instrument lighter? Should we make the instrument more efficient because he's holding it for too long? Or does he need to hold it at all? Can we do a robotic instrument that helps him in a different way? So you always need to, have that innovative mindset and create an environment that brings that out in people. And also I think you need to have, your leadership needs to create an environment that is risk tolerant. Yeah. So when I talk about risk tolerant, I think of a trifecta of you need risk tolerance, and then you need psychological safety so that it's safe. If you take risks, it's safe. You're not going to get fired if you do something wrong. And then the third part is resilience, which I spoke about already. So the three of those together, you can create that environment. People just bring their best self to work, and they'll be really creative. I read a book recently, and the concept was the concept of leveling up. So when you're playing a video game, the whole idea of the video game is that you try a level and you level up. When you win the level, you level up. But if you don't level up, you lose a life and you just start all over again. So if you apply that mentality to risk, you keep trying until you win. When you win, you level up. But if you don't level up, you just try again. You don't give up, you try again. And so if you think about that, if you have an environment that's risk tolerant, you celebrate the success, you level up. When you level up, you end up with really innovative technologies and really good products for the patient. And so that for me, in an innovative environment, the leadership is needed to create that kind of environment, I think.
I love that idea of a specific type of leadership for a real innovation environment. It's that's really, really interesting, and I love the games analogy. I'm going to use that. I'll quote you, I promise, when I use it. But and I suppose we were talking about the kind of technology. You gave us some lovely examples there, but tell us a bit more about your work and your everyday work and the kind of disruptive technology Stryker is working on.
Yeah, so Stryker actually, they grow through innovation. So they spend a lot of effort and time on innovation. Last year, generally 7% of the revenue they put back into innovation and design and R&D. And so last year that was like $1.4 billion. So it's a huge amount of focus for us. And so we try to innovate across the complete continuum of care, all the way from the back of the ambulance through the hospital into recovery. And so for me, it's around innovating in disruptive technologies, and just bringing new digital technologies or physical technologies to products, and to be able to deliver new products. So one of the technologies that I work on, is one of our bigger successes is most recent, is the idea of 3D printing. So 3D printing, a lot of people say, you hear about it a lot in industry. It's not a new concept. It's been around for a couple of years now, but a lot of people say, what is 3D printing? And so the way I like to describe it is, when you were a child and when you were playing with Lego, what you could build out of Lego was really only constrained by your imagination. But the concept of it was taking one brick of Lego and putting another one on top of it. And if you keep doing that, you come up with a creation that comes from your ideas and your imagination. Well, 3D printing is the exact same thing. You take a particle of material and you keep adding more particles until you have a shape or a design or a product. And so when you think of that technology in physical healthcare, you can make anything, right? So if you can come up with a material that will have longevity in the body and will last a patient out their life, and 3D print it, then the powers of possibility for what we can do in healthcare is amazing. So if you take the idea of maybe somebody having a traumatic car accident and you need to build a plate that follows the contours of the face to reconstruct a part of the facial structure, or you take somebody maybe that's had a traumatic event and their pelvis is damaged, and you take a scan from a hospital of their pelvis and you can recreate that pelvis so that somebody actually has an artificial pelvis in their body and now they don't need their leg amputated because they have the connection. If you can 3D print products like that, add them to other technologies like digital solutions, imaging, maybe solutions to get the product to the patient really quickly, the right time, the right place. You put all those technologies together, the powers are amazing. And that's really what we do, is we find those technologies just to bring products and healthcare forward.
God, you sound like you landed in the right place. You sound so enthusiastic. I love it. That's remarkable.
Yeah.
The idea of after an accident or something that you could send it maybe to digitally for it to be printed.
Yes.
At a distance.
And we do that in Ireland. Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I'm so passionate about it. Yes.
It's contagious. I can tell. Now, you probably know that the Leaders Room we do with IDA Ireland very kindly work with us on this. I'd love to get a sense of, Stryker, when we think about IDA, we often think about IDA bringing people into the country, but I'd love to know about the ongoing relationship, and the kind of work you do with them today when it comes to digital transformation or talent or whatever it might be.
Yeah. So we've been working with the IDA for the 26 years we've been in Ireland. They have been phenomenal partners with us, and they've been with us every step of the way. As I mentioned at the start of this interview, we have 9 locations. 6 of them are high-end manufacturing locations where we produce the product. The other 3 are the innovation centres. And innovation centres, the core is the R&D of the products. The IDA, I can 100% say, without the IDA's support, we wouldn't have 3 innovation centres in Ireland. They have been phenomenal partners. And they also support our network. So not only for Stryker, there's an awful lot of companies in our ecosystem that supply us, we work with in Ireland, and the IDA have been partners to them as well. They're, on the talent side, they really promote talent and upskilling and looking at the right type of academia for industry like we have. We partner in the network not only with the companies I mentioned, but academia and hospitals. So there's a really nice network of collaboration going on that's supported by the IDA. We had some recent collaborations, some really nice ones that we're very excited about. One of our innovation centres in Cork, on the instrumentation side, where we had a collaboration between Stryker, University College Cork, and actually the Cork University Hospital, where technology working on, and the technology is actually for cancer, brain tumours, and the technology actually distinguishes between healthy tissue and cancerous tissue in the brain, and that's a really exciting technology that we've been working with. So if you think of any technology before it hits commercial, it hits a product, it's probably 10 years in development. And so most of the technologies we work on are actually a research technology with a university or with a hospital, and they're 10 years in the making. Another one, a really exciting technology, is with Cork University Maternity Hospital, and it's a technology that identifies the amount of blood that's in the clinical waste. So when you think of a maternity postpartum, if you have blood loss postpartum, a hemorrhage, it'll identify that there's the amount of blood that's there, and so you can identify that postpartum blood loss. So really exciting technologies in that network, but it's really, it's the connectivity between the IDA, industry, academia, and clinical institutions. So
yeah, and it's probably in a country our size, there's an advantage in some ways, isn't there, when it comes to collaboration?
Absolutely,
it can be quite helpful.
Yeah,
and you touched on it very much so there, but I mean the kind of specialisms and the kind of talent that you guys require in somewhere like Stryker. I mean, how do you deal with that challenge? Like, is Ireland a good place to find these people? Is it difficult? How do you get them? How do you retain them?
Yeah, like talent is core to running our business. It's not even a pillar, it's actually one of the foundations. And so we're continuously looking at talent. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of people working for Stryker in Ireland now, and there's a really good network of skill set and high talent in Ireland, which is fantastic. Stryker does put a lot of effort into talent. We do graduate programs. So if you're an engineer coming out of college, we spend 2 years rotating you through different parts of the business. A lot of the technologies we work on are cutting edge, so we like to train people up ourselves. We have programs. We have an apprenticeship program for maybe people that didn't do third level education, or maybe are in a trade and want a complete career change. You can do an apprenticeship in manufacturing, technician and so forth. And we spend a lot of we do a lot of educational assistance on training people up or letting them do courses that they want. Like 250 people since last year have been given educational assistance for our Irish employees. So we do all these programs to just grow the talent. And so the idea is that everybody gets to be their best person at work and best self, and they bring their best self to work, and then you just do great work when people come with that mindset and they're fully skilled up. And there's a really nice network of skill in Ireland. The medtech industry is really strong. So when you think about, there's 450 companies in Ireland in medtech, and the medtech industry for Ireland, I think last year we exported about 13 billion. But the medtech industry globally is going to be 600 billion in 26. So when you have the skill we have in Ireland, we can contribute so well to that industry, and there's a really nice network and hub for that skill in Ireland with the academia that we have.
It's great to hear, isn't
Yeah.
it? I love it. And I suppose and we've talked a lot about the future in a way, and the future of medtech. But if you were to look, I don't know, to the coming years, what are the trends that you're seeing in your sector, and what are the things that are changing and moving, and what are you looking out for?
Yeah, I think a lot of the trends we are seeing across multiple industries, you'll hear a lot of people talk about digitalization, artificial intelligence. But in medtech, we're seeing a lot of minimally invasive approaches. So the idea, this has been around for a couple of years, but it's continued to grow. Minimally invasive approaches where the recovery is quick because you've done it the most efficiently. The procedure is efficient and it's done with the best technologies. Playing into those, you have robotics. Robotics is really strong in med device. Stryker have the Mag O robot. This robot is basically, robotic assisted surgeries for areas like hip implants or knee implants. And the whole idea of robotic assisted surgery is that it assists the surgeon. So you have all this intelligence in the robotic system, all the scans, it's continuously informing the surgeon. It understands the patient's anatomy and the patient's markers. So if you're doing a knee replacement, basically the robot won't let you go past certain markers in the body, way more accurate surgeries, and then that allows you recover faster. And you're up and you're standing a lot quicker than maybe some of the traditional surgeries. And then you have a lower rate of revision. So robotics and intelligence is really playing into that space, I would say. They're some of the big technology trends that are moving us forward. But digitalization is everywhere now. It's part of our world, and you're seeing that across the medtech sector as well.
God, exciting times. Mag, thank you so much. That was absolutely fascinating to learn a little bit more about the sector and about Stryker in particular. Thanks a million for being with us today.
You're very welcome. Thank you.